Hello and welcome to Kitchen Connect today. My name is Tracy. Welcome to our kitchen here at Matters of Taste, and I am here to show you today how to make some funky little lemon meringue pies. But as per usual, I've put my little twist on it. So today I'm going to show you how to make a fantastic lemon curd, but one that you can use in all sorts of things, cakes and biscuits, and to just spoon into your mouth from the fridge. Naughty. And I'm also going to be adding some passion fruit to that because we've got some gorgeous passion fruit in our produce boxes this week from Southern Forest. So thank you very much to the farmers who have grown that. It's Nick. Nick at Appletech, I believe. He has grown the passion fruit for us this week. Beautiful. The cameraman has just been cutting them in half and just eating them. 2 teaspoons, gone. So I've managed to steal a couple from the fruit bowl, and I'm going to add the passion fruit to the lemon curd, so you can do the same if you like. I'm also going to show you how to do Italian meringue. So it's one of the most stable meringues that you can actually work with, and the cooking's done beforehand, and so therefore the meringue just needs blowtorching. So I've got my 007. I've always wanted to be a Bond girl. 007 blowtorch here, and I'm going to show you how to use that a little bit later on. But let's get on with the lemon curd first. And of course, lemon curd, I'm just going to try and get up this Castle Hill community, because we're welcome to the people watching on Matters of Taste. Welcome to the people who are watching on the Cooks Collective, of course, and we've got a couple of new groups joining us today, and I am going to try and see if I can. Don't even know whether I can see the actual Facebook post from Castle Hill Facebook page. So I'm just going to see if I can actually get on there. Castle Hill. I don't know whether anything is up and running. No, it's not. Okay.
Yes, it is running.
It is. Okay. Well, I can't see it, because if anyone comments on that, I cannot see you commenting. So I do apologise if I don't answer the questions. So if you're on Matters of Taste or you're on the Cooks Collective, you can definitely chat with us today and ask any questions as we go along. If you're there, let me know that you're there. First name and suburb or region from where you're calling would be fantastic. Then we can have a little chat, and lots of people actually chat to each other on there as well. So let's get on. Lemon curd. So I have got 5 eggs, and we're using, of course, Charcoal Springs eggs from Manjum. So thanks Colleen and Charlie and the kids and the dog and all those wonderful chooks. So 5 whole eggs. I've got 700-gram eggs, so extra large eggs, Charcoal Springs, pastured eggs, and I have got, I think it's 100 grams of caster sugar, so just white caster sugar. I wouldn't try playing around too much with the different sugars in this, because both of these recipes, the meringue and the curd, rely on white caster sugar really, as opposed to other types of sugar. So I've got a couple of lemons off my tree actually here today. So they're the nice sharp ones. I think they're Eureka, aren't they? The Mayer lemons are slightly less sharp, so I would definitely suggest that the Eureka lemons are the ones to go for. And I want 150 mils of lemon juice, heaps. So they're the ones with the nice thick oily skin, really, really nice. That goes in there as well. And I'm going to pop in the pulp from a passion fruit. So when you're buying passion fruit, make sure they're nice, heavy for size. I did get my knife somewhere. Heavy for their size. Let's have a look in here. Oh, delicious. So in goes the passion fruit pulp. When I made this the first time, it's quite funny. We'll see if this happens again, because obviously it's pulpy and I've left the seeds in. Now, if you want to, you can sieve out the seeds, but I love the seeds. But we'll whisk this up for a couple of minutes, and by the time this is actually whisked up, all the seeds get stuck around the whisk, and it looks as if they've been in the wind with their hair going back like that. We'll see if that happens again. So we are using the whole egg in this, and I'm just going to whisk this on low, because already on low I'm lightly splattered with lemon curd, or the start of lemon curd. And move the oh, this torch. I'm like, what torch is the cameraman talking about? Move the torch, move that. So we'll whisk this up. Basically what we're trying to do here is just get this, get the sugar dissolved in here. And I have over here set up a pan already. And I thought I would use this lovely noni pan. It's one of the Solid Techniques pans because, was it a couple of weeks ago? I did a last Wednesday, I think. Oh, a week ago. When I was on the radio and we were talking about the perfect scrambled egg, and I really felt this urge to teach people with vision. So on our Facebook page, I did a quick 5-minute sort of live of me making scrambled eggs, and I actually use this noni pan because I absolutely love it. The lid, you can actually use that to fry things on directly on the stove as well. So Australian made saucepans, they are absolutely fantastic. But I've got, so I thought I'd use it again today because people are like, ooh, what's your saucepan? So I did have a couple of people ordering these saucepans through me, and I'm going to place an order very shortly for them. So they're our favourite saucepans to use in the kitchen. All Australian made. Love it, love it. So I want the water simmering in this pan, and I've already selected a bowl that will fit in the pan because we're going to use a double boiler like this to actually cook the lemon curd and thicken it. So I think we're just about right with our, look at the colour of these eggs. Oh, it hasn't done it quite as much. The colour of these eggs is just stunning. I might whiz them up a little bit quicker now. They've slightly thickened a little bit as the air is being whisked into them. So I'll just whiz them up just a touch more. I can't remember what I actually said on my recipe. I do have to just make sure. Yeah, mix on high speed for 3 to 4 minutes, but we start on slow, don't we? Start on slow, get up to high, until eggs are aerated and sugar has dissolved. I've got 150 mils of cream. It doesn't really matter whether it's whipping cream or whether it's thickened cream. I've actually got thickened cream today because that's what I had in the fridge, but also that the eggs are the things in this curd that thicken the curd, so we don't have any butter in here. So I'm just using sugar, the juice, the eggs, and the cream. So it's a little bit like a custard, but we got the egg whites in it as well. All right, I'm going to turn that down and just add the cream into that, just whisking it through briefly. We don't need to whisk that up or anything, just whisk it through briefly like that. Probably get out a little spoon. Don't want that too hot. Start cooking immediately as it goes in there. All right, I think a red Go Faster one today. Now, bearing in mind, I'm not really a pastry chef. So, although I love making pastry, but do you know what I mean? I'm not a chef who does desserts all the time, and I didn't go on after training to become a chef. I didn't go on to train to become a pastry chef. So this is all sort of self-learnt. It does work. It certainly does work, but it's all self-learnt, and I think sometimes that's a great way to go if you know the basics of cooking. So if you want to at this stage, you can definitely take out the seeds of the passion fruit, and you can also taste it and just decide whether you would like a little bit more passion fruit in there. You may think, that passion fruit is not really quite strong enough for me. So you can see, flavour-wise, so you can see there's some foam on the top from the eggs. And what we're going to do is just heat this slowly so that it starts thickening. So I'm going to get a whisk out as well, because sort of using a whisk and using the spoon will help us cook this. So we do want a little bit of steam happening underneath, some warmth coming through that bowl. So let me tell you about this. the water in the pan is only about quarter of the depth of the pan, so you don't want the water touching the bowl. And it's always fascinated me, why don't you want the water touching the bottom of the bowl? And I think possibly it's not so much to do with, it may be to do with the heat, as in the boiling water, but also if the water was touching the bowl, and this bowl is sort of, I don't know, probably rests about a third of the way down, all the water would start bubbling over as well. So I just think it's quite a good thing to know that the water shouldn't be touching the base of the bowl. If you did this directly onto the heat, what would happen is that heat coming up from the base of the pan would just cook this too quickly. Bearing in mind it's a custard, but it has got a lot of egg in here, so it would just start scrambling immediately. So this is a much softer way of starting to get the thickening, get the curd thickening in here. So the other one I've always wanted to make, what was it, like a blackberry curd, I think would be absolutely delicious. Not quite sure how to make that one, but I've always sort of thought, oh, that blackberry curd, like that colour would be absolutely stunning, wouldn't it? You know, when you're when you've got a weekend off and you've got nothing to do, so you go foraging around your local area, finding blackberries at this time of year. Not. So you can buy them frozen from the supermarket. So I'm just sort of, obviously, if you want to know how hot this is, you can stick your finger in it. It's actually quite warm already. And look at what's happening already. Let me just see if I can tip that up. Can you actually see that? Yeah. Can you see that thickening already around the edge? So this is why a whisk is quite good. So you can give it a quick whisk. But something like this beautiful spoon, you can see that the edge is very square. So you can make sure, look at that thickening up, you can make sure that you've scraped it all the thickening curd off around the edge of the bowl. So using these intermittently is quite a good way to go, I think, personally. And what we're going to do here, because of time, I'm going to, once this is thickened, I'm going to then put it over a bowl of iced water, and we're going to cool it down that way. I did have a bowl already, and then I think I put it away because I thought it was for nothing. So I'm going to have to get a bowl out. Anyway, that happens in the kitchen though, doesn't it? Especially if you're like me, tidying up as you go along. So I just thought this was such a fantastic thing to actually teach people to do. And I'm not a great lover of the lemon meringue pies that have the lemon part of the lemon meringue pie as a very sort of corn flour thickened base. I think this is a much more up-to-date way of making lemon meringue pie, and probably one that is is it better for you? Probably eggs and without the corn flour. I don't know, but anyway, that's totally up to you whether to work that out or not. But I think this is really lovely. Now you can see how this is thickening up now, starting to coat the edge of the spoon, but it still got way to go, because I can see as I'm moving this around. I'm going to turn. Look at that, how it goes. That's amazing, isn't it? So I'm just going to turn that heat down a little bit and make sure. There again. There you go. Get the whisk going so that we don't end up with lots of bits in here. And you want to be stirring this relatively consistently or constantly, because if you don't, what will happen is that the egg whites will start coagulating and you'll get lots of white dots in here, rather than a good thick curd like I have here. So once this is done like this, lemon curd, you can then pop it into warm sterilised jars and pop a lid on, and it makes beautiful hostess gifts, because if your hostess likes cooking, then he or she is going to love having a pot of homemade lemon curd perhaps from locally grown lemons and beautiful local passion fruit there. So absolutely delicious. So you can see now if I run my finger through it, it's thick. And the other thing I was going to show you is a little bit of what ribbon the ribbon stages. So the ribbon stage is when you when you can drizzle some of the curd on top of the other curd, and it sort of stays a little bit like a ribbon on the top. You can see that it just sort of keeps its shape a little bit and then disappears. So that's ribbon stage, if anyone wanted to know that. So let's take this off the heat now, and I'm wondering if the ice would actually reach from the bottom of here. No, I'm going to get myself, just thinking if I have got it over here. Is this it? This has got spinach in, but I'm going to use this. Going to use that because that would work out quite well, I think. So I'm going to put some ice in here. This is going to cool things down pretty quickly, because otherwise we just simply wouldn't be ready to fill the pastry cases with the lemon curd by the end of the show. So that's half of it done. Doesn't take that long, does it? And do you know what? Sometimes I'm thinking, like, you know, should I really have my lemons already squeezed and things like that? And I'm like, you know what? I like doing things in real time. Like really real life, real time. So you can actually see exactly how long that takes to make. So just make sure that that pot is sitting with its base in the ice, and that will cool this curd down. So I'm using this stainless steel bowl partly due to the fact that it will heat up. It heated up really quickly over the pan and started thickening really nice and quickly. If you have a big thick glass or ceramic bowl and you pop it over a bowl of simmering water, it's going to take 5 minutes for the heat to actually come through that bowl. So it's great nowadays that you can buy these stainless steel bowls really easily in so many different places. You don't even have to really go to a kitchen store to buy these bowls, and they're really useful. So heat up really quickly, cool down really quickly. Stainless steel works a treat. All right, so let's go on to the meringue. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to get the sugar syrup made for this meringue first. So I have had my pan lightly heated. So I've put in about 1/4 cup of water. Now it's not too, this is not really, the amount of water that you put in with the sugar, we're just going to make a sugar syrup and take it up to about 115 degrees. It doesn't really matter how much water you put in the pan with the sugar. Might move this across. Because, turn it on, down to 3. Because the water, what we're trying to do with this is evaporate the water so that the sugar starts getting a really high temperature. So what we need to do first, and then we're going to pour it onto the egg whites, which I have done nothing with yet because you don't need to at the moment. So, rule number 1, when you're working with sugar, whether you want to make a sugar syrup, whether you want to take it through to a caramel, is always stainless steel equipment, not non-stick stainless steel. I'm even using a stainless steel spoon because everything needs to be squeaky clean. Because if your sugar syrup is boiling in a pan that has got something stuck to it, or the sugar's got wet in the cupboard, or you've got a silicone or a wooden spoon that has got lots of other flavors in it as well, it could very easily contaminate the sugar, and then it crystallizes, so it goes back to like granular sugar, and that's really frustrating because you have to soak the pan and get it all out and start all over again. So squeaky clean equipment, and I'm going to stir so that the sugar dissolves on a fairly low heat at the moment. I've brought it up to number 6 now because it's liquid like that, but we've still got some sugar in there. It hasn't dissolved yet, but stirring it is fine until it comes to the boil, and then you want to stop stirring it. So because I'm a little bit impatient sometimes, I have learnt the hard way about cooking with sugar syrup. And before COVID, when we were running the live cooking classes, we did a class, or we have a class where we make croquembouche. You know, the big tower of profiteroles, and we work with sugar with that and make toffee so that we can stick all the profiteroles together. And one day I was a little bit behind, and I put on my sugar syrup really full steam ahead to start off with, and my sugar just went back to crystals straight away. So just a little bit of safety, and none of the mistakes that I've made along the way, hopefully you will make. But I know that people have a little bit of difficulty with sugar syrup and making toffee and making caramel, because sugar, this is quite an advanced thing to do. Not so much for this meringue though, because I'm not taking it to the toffee stage. So I'm just going to take it to the, it's going to be about 100, as I say, 115 degrees. And that will be enough to start cooking the egg whites when we've got those in the bowl over there. So I reckon we're just about done with this. As I'm stirring, I'm listening for a crunch. And I'm also feeling through the spoon to feel if I can feel any sugar, and I can feel the pan starting to vibrate a little bit with the heat coming through, and it's wanting to boil. So at this point in time, move the spoon away from you so you don't pick it up by mistake, because if you end up stirring that once it's boiling, then it's just going to crystallize again. Here's our lovely curd. So I like it with the passion fruit in it, but if you don't, as I said, sieve it. When you pour it into this bowl here, sieve it. Let's see, it's still warm, not hot, still warm. So I know it's got a little bit more to go to cool down. So here we go, here's our sugar boiling now. So once it's dissolved, the sugar, and it's boiling, this will be 100 degrees because it's boiling and it's got water in it. So sugar boils at a much higher temperature than just boiling water does. Hence, if you get any of this, especially when you've made toffee, if you get any of it on your skin, you're going to burn yourself really quite badly, and you can't pick it off because it's hot and it's sticky. So you do have to be a little bit careful with that. So I've got it in quite a small saucepan as well, and that's perfectly all right for this amount of sugar syrup. Just bear in mind the principle of cooking sugar like this. So you can see all this evaporation, all this steam that is coming up is that 1/4 cup of water that I've got, that I put in there to allow, to assist me to dissolve the sugar. I know that I'm okay with this sugar syrup as well, because I can see that the mixture, even though there's lots of bubbles, the mixture is relatively clear, so it's not going to crystallize. What happens is it's sort of like ice forms over the top. It looks like ice forming over the top, and it doesn't swirl. So I'm just swirling mine like that. So any sugar grains that are up on the side, give it a little gentle swirl around, and that'll just pull all those sugar grains back in and keep the sugar syrup boiling. So we're going quite well at this stage. I'm going to use a thermometer. You can guess at this if you want to, but 115 degrees is actually quite hard to guess because 100 degrees is boiling. So it's going up really quite fast. I think we're probably just about there. 7, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. Pretty good actually, because I'm going to turn that off now, because the I'll just leave that there because it's warm. The thermometer started slowing down as it came up to 112, 113, 114, 115 degrees. So I know that we're just about there. And so into here, I'm going to put 4 egg whites. So I'm going to tell you all about the egg whites and what you're going to be doing with them, etc., etc. And I'm going to whisk those on high speed. And then we're going to start to pour the hot sugar into the egg white. We're going to allow that to whisk for a few minutes, and I'm going to show you about filling the shells and all of that sort of stuff in a minute. But we need to work with the sugar syrup being really nice and hot so it starts to actually cook the meringue. So you actually want the meringue or the egg white to get to ribbon stage again, a little bit like this, ribbon stage, but you want the meringue to do that. So what you're looking for is a really nice foamy meringue, squeaky clean again. Any fat that gets into the meringue or gets into the egg white, it will not cook. It will not whisk up the egg white. So at this stage, let's turn this off quickly. This stage, this is soft peak stage, and I want to show you, I don't know whether the camera will pick it up, but I want to show you. Can you see the ribbon as I go like this? It's sort of, it's not stiff peak, but it just leaves its ribbon on the top of the egg. So I'm going to leave this really, really basic. I'm not going to put anything else in it apart from sugar and the egg. So this is still really hot, and I'm just pouring it down the sides, just where the egg white meets the side of the bowl. I don't want to pour it onto the whisk, because if I pour it onto the actual whisk, it'll just flick the sugar syrup all around the sides of the bowl, and it will just stick all the sugar around the outside of the bowl. I believe we have a question, but whether I'll hear you or not is another matter over here.
Jan is wondering, is there a difference between Italian meringue and Swiss meringue?
I knew someone was going to ask that. Google it. Similar, but not the same. I think Swiss meringue is more cooked. Is Swiss meringue whisked over a bain-marie, like we've done the double boiler? But this meringue just basically gets cooked by the heat from the sugar syrup. So as soon as you've done anything with sugar, just heated your sugar, whether you've got sugar syrup like we had or whether you've gone to toffee stage, pop some hot water in it and just allow it to soak for a couple of minutes. And it just dissolves all the sugar and is much easier to clean. So I'm sorry I didn't know that. I'm sorry I didn't know that answer to that question, because I'm not a meringue girl. I'm not a pavlova girl. I'm not a meringue girl. But I think that this meringue is a lot of fun to work with because it is so smooth, and as I said, it's so stable. It would be interesting to find out. Jan, you probably Googled it already, haven't you? And she can probably put in the chat what the difference is between Swiss meringue and Italian meringue. But all I know is that this meringue, you can make buttercreams with it. It's great for Bomalaska. You know, on Monday night, after you've had spaghetti bolognese, and the kids always go, "Mum, is it Bomalaska tonight for pudding?" You know, that sort of Bomalaska. With a flaming Zambuca in the top. This is the meringue to use for that as well, because all you need to do is torch it. So you don't need to put it in the oven. I'm going to turn this down so I can hear a little bit.
Jan says Swiss meringue is cooked to a lower temperature according to Google.
It's cooked to a lower temperature.
According to Google.
Okay, so I wonder if there's a different method of making it, or whether you make a sugar syrup as well. But anyway, do this one. It works really, really well. So this is still really hot. It is absolutely gorgeous and lush. And the mixture, you can't really see it, but I'll show you at the end. It just goes really shiny and gorgeous. So I don't need to have it on full bore whisking right now because it's done its job. The meringue is stable now with that sugar in there as well. You can put a pinch of salt in it if you want to. You can put like a little bit of vanilla extract in it if you want to. But I'm leaving mine really quite plain because I love the flavour of the lemon and the passion fruit coming through in the pie. So this is basically just still whisking to cool it down. Anything that you constantly stir that is hot, you're going to allow cold air to get into it. So if you're wanting to cool things down, you constantly stir it, like I've been sort of constantly stirring this one, but not really needing to. And this one is just being constantly stirred so that the meringue is moving around and the temperature will come down. So while that's finishing off, I'm just going to move these across to here, get my phone out of the way now. With the egg whites with this as well, before I forget, If you've got egg whites that are a few days old, or they've been in the freezer because you've frozen them, just the egg whites, not the yolks, it's so much better for the meringue. So much better for the meringue. The only thing that I can think of is that some of the moisture, some of the water in the egg has actually come out through the shell and sort of concentrated all those proteins that then lock together really tightly because they don't have the water in the way. That's sort of how I can explain it, that I think that it is. So older meringue, older egg white. So I'm talking about 4 or 5 days old in the fridge, or if you've got got them in the freezer, they can be frozen for a couple of months and then taken out and defrosted over 3 or 4 days in the fridge, and you've got old egg whites. Not like 6 months old or something like that in the fridge. That would be a little bit too old. So let's have a look at what I've done here. I'll move this out of the way. So here I've baked blind some sweet pastry. So you see, for Cooks Collective members, and you'll be able to see on the recipe that you can either do a sweet pastry base or a short crust pastry base. Just answer a question.
Can you over whisk meringue?
Only if you go away on holiday for a couple of weeks and come back and it's still going, that might be a bit. But really, as far as over whisking it, this has been going for, how long do we think this has been going for? Over 5 minutes, I would say, and it certainly is not over. It's not over whisked. What I don't want it to do is get too cold, so that when I'm trying to do these little peaky blinders, these peaky things, then I find that if the meringue's been sitting too long, it does get a little bit bubbly and aerated and sort of sets. So I want to do this fairly shortly. So another question?
Jan's been doing a bit more research. With Swiss, the egg whites are cooked over a bain-marie with sugar, then beaten. Yeah, that's what I said. I thought that would be the case, that that the egg whites, the meringue's cooked over a bain-marie, so a double boiler like this. So this is a slightly different way. Thank you, Jan. You're a gem. Jan, you're a gem. So back to the pastry. I pre-made these this morning. And on the Cooks Collective, you can definitely find a pastry. It's got quite a great pastry course actually on the Cooks Collective, really. So I've got, this is my sweet pastry recipe, and that's on the Pies and Tarts Masterclass for the Cooks Collective people. And I've just used these little individual tarts because I thought it'd be nice, and then we're actually giving away these 6 tarts to 6 people who have ordered a box, fresh produce box from us this week, and we're going to give them away to 6 people that we pull out of a hat. So if you haven't got your fresh produce orders in, and you're watching this live, it closes at 8 o'clock tonight. So go to mattersoftaste.com.au and place your order. You'll get some passion fruit and some lemons, I think. Is that what we've got in the box this week, Mr. Cameraman? We've got beautiful extras to purchase now as well. So let's fill the tarts. Like this, I've worked out it's about 90 mils. You can buy your tart cases if you want to, but I love making pastry. It's about 90 mils per case for these little cases, and these cases are about 10 centimeters. I won't tell you what I was going to say. That's so funny how my mind works. No, I won't tell you, just in case there are any children listening. So 10 centimeters, and they get filled up beautifully. So with this lovely curd, there you go. You've got some beautiful pastry cases filled with curd that, I'm try number 9 or number 11? Number 9. That you got filled with curd, and you can just pop some strawberries on the top of that if you want to. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh my gosh. That is do you mind? Oh my god. No, oh my gosh, stop. I need to carry on.
That is that's mind-blowing. Mind-blowing meringue. That's what I should have called it, shouldn't I? Yes, another question. So smooth.
Talking of the fruit and veg boxes.
Yep.
We have from Hillside Farmers Direct Produce Facebook page. We have Matthew and Erin.
Hello, guys, down there, wherever you are.
Down there watching, yeah.
Lovely. Lovely to have you with us. I've got to get this piping pretty quickly as well, haven't I? Can you see how stable it is? It's just like, and I'm thinking, because I get a bit excited and probably talk a bit too much, don't I? So whenever you're using a piping bag, always give it a nice little collar around there so you can pull it up like this. And I'm going to start over here so it's out of focus. Okay, so we're going to see. Okay, so you know what? I wanted to try. Oh, here you go. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I wanted to try 2 different sized piping bags. Now look at what you've made me do. That one. Look at that one, Anthony. And look at that's a bit rude. That one, isn't it? Let's pull that in like naughty. Anyway, you can do whatever piping you want on these. Make them rude, make them not rude, up to you. That one's definitely got to move out of the way. But it's a case of understanding when to pull this bag. Which, do I have to turn it around? That one is brilliant, isn't it? Everyone, look at that one. And I'm going to do 1 or 2. See, if you go like that, they don't look very good, do they? I just need to slow down. I'm trying to do it really super fast so that I don't get into trouble, but I'm already in trouble. This is why I said, you heard the caveat at the beginning? Was it a caveat? I'm not a pastry chef.
Yeah, don't blame that.
Oh, is that one? Can't I say, I'm not a pastry chef? So, now, the other thing is, I believe I've got 5 eggs on the meringue recipe, and I've only used 4. And look at how much there is. I've left some just in case anyone wants to pipe it anywhere else. It's really smooth and silky and gorgeous. Can't waste it. And look, I tell you what, my 5th one is going to be brilliant. Ooh. And then there's sound effects too. See what I mean? As you pipe, like, no. Okay. This is see what happens to it? This is the only thing that I'm a bit like, it annoys me now because it's sort of carried on cooking. So what you could do, I'm going to show you, you could do little bits like this. Does that look better? I found a beautiful one because we've been to Ottolenghi in London a couple of times, and his meringues just look amazing on top of his. Does that look a bit better, Anthony?
Yes.
Do you think?
Yes.
Should I do that one like that? So you can do this. Oh. One that got away. You can do this. This is actually a number 9 piping nozzle as well. And so you can just do small ones. If you're not as adventurous and as silly as me, you can do small ones like that. And then that actually looks quite pretty, doesn't it? This one's just diabolical. Have that there. Take that off like that. So now we get to the bit that is just too much fun. Just too much fun in the kitchen. So yours are going to look 100% better than mine. I tell you what, the other thing to do is do a whole one. Actually, they look quite cute overexposed in the camera, don't they? Do they? And now I'm going to expose them even more with my torch. My Bond girl torch. Yeah. Just checking on the time. I've got about 4 minutes to do this. So, torch, very important part of kitchen arsenal. And so much fun. I don't care what they look like. It's just so much fun doing this. Like that. There's a beautiful big... You just say that they're fairy mountain ranges. And using the torch is super quick, super easy. And even if you're a little bit tipsy at a dinner party, you could probably still do this, couldn't you? So much fun. I can see it around my side, but not around your side. How does that look?
Fine.
Does that look all right? I think maybe we should get those two beautiful ones in the foreground. This is just the hardest thing to do. This is the hardest part of this show, is to do that bit at the end. But there we go. Lemon meringue pies. Who would like to win one? That looks quite cute from the top. Who would like to win one? Order a fresh produce box, and one of these little babies could be yours. I'll put them in the fridge, and they'll be delicious. So I hope that's amused you for 45 minutes on this Wednesday afternoon. Have a bit of fun with the meringue. Turn the leftovers into a nice butter icing or something. Google that, and have a little bit of fun with some meringue. It's amazing what 4 egg whites, how much 4 egg whites make, isn't it? So you might even want to halve that mixture. Who knows? 2 egg whites may be enough. And what did I do? 2 egg whites, and then it'll be 125 grams of sugar. But anyway, have a bit of fun with those. I'm not going to be opening a shop to rival Ottolenghi at any time, but they taste really, really good. So if you are yet to become a Cooks Collective member, this recipe plus this video will be on the Cooks Collective for all time for you to play around with, have a look, have a laugh, make them better than mine, do whatever you want with them. Just make the lemon curd, make the pastry, do whatever you like with them. So we thank everyone for joining us today, from Matters of Taste, from the Cooks Collective, from who else do we have? Hillside Farmers Direct in down south, and anyone else?
Castle Hill.
And Castle Hill, our own little area where we live in Perth. So hello Castle Hill people as well. We will be back here 2 o'clock next week. I'm going to be making chili con carne. Much happier with savoury stuff, let me tell you that now. So I'm going to make beautiful chili con carne, and I'll show you creamy coleslaw to go with it, and I'll even show you how to make my 1-minute mayonnaise. That'll be fun, won't it? Oh, we'll do rice cooking as well. So if anyone's got any rice cooking techniques, be back wherever you are today at 2 o'clock next Wednesday, and I will see you then. Enjoy.